Recently, I've been playing a roguelike game called Knight vs. Giant: The Broken Excalibur, and this game looked a lot like Hades when I first saw it, which made me really intrigued to try it. The gameplay is more of a dungeon crawler like Hades, and the combat is very similar, but the insides of a runs are quite the same for some other roguelites, and the outside of a run is also quite, the same. It's got meta progression, it's got everything. But is this game actually just any good in general? We're going to discuss everything inside of a run, outside of a run, really my concerns with the game and how I feel as a whole. So let's get into it. The story is that Camelot got sucked up by some dark void and is no longer in the same dimension as Earth. And you have to play as King Arthur in the run and save all your different knights, save all the villagers, and build Camelot back up to its glory. So inside of a run, you have a different starting weapon and starting ability, and you go through 3 different biomes, with each biome housing 2 levels, and each level having a boss that you need to fight. Of course, the second level has a main boss, which is a lot harder to fight compared to a little mini boss. And inside the runs, you collect gold, which will be used to upgrade your town outside of a run. And then you get this purple soul essence, which allows you to buy items from a shop inside of a run. The items that you can buy inside the shops are a bunch of pendants that will give you buffs. Like, do extra damage after you take damage, do extra damage after a dash. Or maybe you want to buy 3 potions, which are usually pretty cheap. Each biome has 3 potions that you can buy, and each level inside of every biome has a fountain that fully refills your health. So this game has a lot more health compared to a previous game I reviewed like Axolotl. The core gameplay is very similar to Hades as the dungeon crawler and clearing all these different rooms. The room setup reminds me of Enter the Gungeon. As you enter a room, you have to clear out all the enemies before you can leave. But the core gameplay is more Hades-like, where you have a dash that has a very, very short cooldown, your main weapon, which gets a lot of buffs and upgrades throughout the run, your secondary weapon, which I'm just going to call an ability, which also gets a lot of buffs throughout the run. Then you also have blessings, which are used on LB and RB, which have cooldowns based off hitting enemies, because every enemy you hit pops out this blue currency that will refill the cooldown meter. So the game has 6 levels total that you have to fight through, and every single level has a shop, like I said. But also, every single run, you seem to save 1 villager that will get sent back to Camelot, which I think is cool, but it also makes the game quite tedious in the unlock section, which we'll get to in a bit. But you also have fun little things like 1 challenge room that only appears in the first biome for some reason. And the challenge is just survive 60 seconds or defeat 3 waves of enemies. And the reward is always gold, which is always worth it because you can never have too much gold with how many things are reliant on the gold currency for the town. The runs overall, though, feel really easy, and they get kind of repetitive as there's only a handful of different types of enemies that you see in each biome. And the different variety with weapons is not really present in the first 10 hours. I've played the game for 10 hours, and I have beaten a run against the 4th and final boss. After the 3rd boss, there's a 4th and final boss. So inside of a run, you get these 2 currencies that are used to upgrade the town with gold and some blue gem. The gold is used to upgrade the classes that you can use, and so far 10 hours in, I still only have 2 classes. That's a giant negative in the game. 10 hours in, I have fully beaten a run. I still only have these starting classes. There is no sign whatsoever of me being able to get the other 4 classes. I don't know if it's glitched or something, but there was this one character that you had to save, the sculptor. They were the 2nd character that I saved in this game. I built their hut that they wanted the second I could, because I just build everything when I can. And they've been telling me for 10 hours, basically, maybe 9 hours, 8 hours, that I need to find a memento inside of a run to be able to get another weapon. I have not found any mementos. I clear out every biome every single time, so I do not have any other weapons. And that's one of my most annoying things, is that there doesn't seem to be any clear indication of how to unlock these new characters, these new weapons and abilities from the Knights of the Round Table. And the meta progression, don't even get me started on the meta progression. This game, it took me 8.2 hours to unlock meta progression. And the meta progression is very simple. You do 10% more damage, your ability does more damage, higher crit rate, all of that. And the meta progression costs 1 blue crystal point for the first upgrade, and then the second upgrade costs 3 blue crystals. And that's not really too bad per se, but you only get like 3 to 4 blue crystals per run. So if you finish a full run and you get 3 or 4 blue crystals, you can get 1 thing of meta progression. So I think the biggest negatives with this city building aspect is meta progression is way too slow, and it takes a really long time to get there. I like the meta progression, it's basic, but I like it. It's just too grindy for how long a run is and how reliant gold is on everything as well. Meta progression's slow, No weapons are available whatsoever, but we can talk about maybe a couple positives. There's a flower girl that you save and you upgrade her shop. She gives you a blessing at the start of every run. It's just a small little buff. That's a nice little bonus. I like that. Then there's also this gemstone guy on the right side as well. Once you get their shop up, you can buy gems that are buffs, but they cost 2,000 gold, which is about 2 runs worth of gold. You get maybe 1,200 gold on a successful run if you don't have any curses or blessings that give you a higher gold gain rate. It's a little pricey for how reliant gold is on upgrading your current classes to a higher level, upgrading every single building that you want, really everything. That's a little annoying, but the buffs last permanently and you can have those 2 buffs on whenever you want. But, you know, the building seems very lackluster as it's very fetch questy. And I don't know if maybe the mementos show up after you fetch quest everybody, but it does seems like there's an endless amount of people you need to save. And I would really like to get some weapons ASAP so I can have some variety in my run. But overall, I've been playing this game a lot the past few days. Shout out to the publisher for giving me a free code. It really means a lot. If you want to watch me play games live or even play this game live, you can come hang out on twitch.tv/Burr. This was just a quick little review on the game. So quick TLDR if you skipped all the way to the end for some reason. Meta progression's too grindy. I need weapon variation a lot faster. Same with meta progression. But some other things like the permanent buffs with the items that cost 2,000 gold each, like the dual gem items, that's good. The flower girl, that's good. The combat feels good as a whole. It's just a little grindy in a lot of areas, and that's a bit the biggest negative I could say. But overall, it's a good, cute little game, and I'm happy to be playing it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.